estate company from the operations, similar to a Care Trust Ensign. I don't know if you guys are familiar, now PAX. We separated the businesses, and I became the person running the real estate company. We took that company public in Israel first, again, to about 2014, 2015. And we took that company public in Israel. We were number 14 to list in Israel. And now, years later, we're publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange. In 2015, when we started, we had about 33 facilities. Facilities that were operated by myself and my partner were 100% of the facilities, and we were in, at that point, 2 states, Indiana and Illinois. Different than a lot of the companies that are presenting today, of course, is I'm the founder. I still own probably 35% of the company, and I bought every single asset. I'm not compensated in a way for growth, which is contrary to a lot of public companies where the CEO is not necessarily aligned with everybody, but they're trying to grow, the business, because that's how they get paid, and that's how they earn their bonuses. I don't have that at all. I'm paid $300,000 a year. I'm just a poor schlep, just trying to make a living, and that's my tagline. I've been sticking to it for years at this point. All of our real estate that we lend, and of course we haven't had a bad tenant, and we've collected 100% of our rents easily 7-8 years running at this point. All of our businesses are triple net leases. Most of the leases all the leases are 10-year leases with 2 5-year renewals, 3% annual increases, which, if you do the math, we start with a 10% unlevered return. So if you add a little leverage, which today we're about 48% levered, you add a little leverage and you add, annual increases over the years, we're bringing in about a 17% return on a regular basis. Looking at this slide that we're showing here, today we hit our all-time high for our stock. Happens to be, it hit 1377, which we're proud of, on 60 or 70,000 shares traded, which is a decent day for us. But that being said, the dividend yield before the stock today was about a 5.25% dividend yield. And I don't know if all you guys know the term AFFO. Other businesses use NOI, but really our true cash return for every share we have today is producing. In 24 was 111. 2025 is going to be about 128, and we've been beating our numbers every year. But if you look at that, our growth rate on that has been over 11% a year. So you put that together with the dividend yield, we're a 16-17% return. Most of our debt, or a lot of our debt today, is really a third in our debt. We have a slide about it. Most of it's fixed long-term debt. HUD program is very good for the nursing home space. So we're financed about $260 million, give or take, at 3.6 all in is our pricing, which basically keeps us from having interest rate risk, which a lot of other companies have. That being said, we'll go to the next slide. Again, we're a REIT. Most of our assets, I'll cut over to the map, are in the Midwest. That's where we all began. So Indiana, Illinois, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kansas, Kentucky, Missouri, Ohio, Oklahoma, and Texas. That's our map. We buy things with the viewpoint as if we were the operator, which we're not. We're triple net lease assets. We don't operate anything. We have no shop in our portfolio. Very, very clean portfolio. Again, mainly nursing homes. 93% of our portfolio is skilled nursing facilities. Going back to here, we have a little bit of related party, which again, we were 100%, but based on the master leases. So you have to anything you buy in a specific geography, you have to add to the master lease. And the concept of a master lease, of course, is it limits our risk. Instead of me leasing 150 buildings, 150 people, and I got to chase down and do asset management, they're basically portfolios instead. So we lease, in my case, we lease Tennessee to a related party, 16 facilities there. We lease in Indiana, a couple of different leases, there's 45 facilities there. We lease to Texas to 2 different people. We lease in Oklahoma to 2 different people. We lease in Arkansas to 1 operator, 1 big master lease. So that's the concept, and it basically keeps us secure that no one's cherry picking and saying this asset's not as good, we want to give it back to you. We avoid that by them saying we're in a master lease and the portfolio itself has a great return, and therefore they eat the one that's not doing great and they keep paying on all of it. A couple of highlights here of the portfolio. 15,500 total beds, which is basically, 1% of of the total nursing home beds in the country, 142 facilities, 250 million in our pipeline. Our annualized AFFO, God willing, we'll beat that, is 73 million. I don't care about the EBITDA number, that's not as important. The net debt to net assets is under 50%. The net debt to EBITDA is 5.6 times. I mean, anyone knowing from this kind of world, I mean, there are bankers that'll end up to 12, 13 times, and we're not even half of that. And we have a rent coverage of 2 times. So basic concept is we lease it out at 10 cap. We ratchet it up over the years as the thing grows, gets to 17% return. As they make more money, they have more rent coverage. We get the rent in, we have more security, we're more comfortable. We're able to dividend out the money. Today, our payout ratio is less than 50%. And a payout ratio, and that means all that other cash that we're not dividending out while maintaining our REIT status, we take that money and buy more assets, and that's why we have the AFFO growth that other companies don't have, because they're distributing, let's say, 100% of their free cash. We're only distributing 46% of our free cash. This is a map just to show it's really controlled growth. I'm a CPA, I'm a little bit more conservative. Again, I'm not beholden to anybody. I'm the founder of the company, which is good and bad, obviously. I can't, like shareholders want to smack me around, and I say, come on, give it to me. I'm not afraid of you. Anyway, but the point is that we go and do, and this is going to be a legacy asset in my family. So we're not willing to just risk something just for the hell of it. We keep with the same structured, and if you see based on our timeline, right, we haven't gone crazy like a lot of other companies. They get a little bit of money from investors and they just go run crazy with it. And sometimes it's great, sometimes not so great. We talked about the map already. The company, again, our management team, we're basically today ran with good governance between the board and management of nursing home people. And so the starting point is every deal we look at, like I said before, is geared towards, if I was gonna buy this for me to operate, would I buy this like this? Does it make sense geographically? Does it make sense operationally? It's not just looking at a data set and determining that I want to own this or not own this. So there's a list of our team, there's a list of our board members. This is a very good slide for us. It's a little bit boring for me to present it to the room, but and all the stuff that you see is on our website. We're current on all of our filings, of course. But investment criteria, 10%. Like I said, a 10% cash on cash return unlevered day one. And really the focus and what the slide tries to show is what we're looking for, how we're looking for it, what we look for in the tenant. We need someone that has integrity, that cares about the people we're taking care of. It's a tough business. It's a hated business at the end of the day. The world, no one's ever happy to go into a nursing home, and nobody is ever happy with the care that their mother or loved one gets, because it's never going to be. Right? It's still going to be a stranger taking care of somebody, so it's never going to be the same level of you taking care of your own mother. And so there's a highest standard, and there's plenty of plaintiff attorneys. If you go down 95, it's every other billboard literally saying, "Have you been hurt in a nursing home?" And that's the world. Now, us as a landlord, we have no effect on that. But what we like to look for is, of course, our tenants that are caring. They have to have the financial strength. Obviously, they have to have the background of knowing the business, but at the same token, integrity, and I kind of interview them, and like when I interview them, I want to look for people that actually care about people. I don't know how to say that better than that. This is a list of our tenants. It's a nice different bunch of groups of people. Most of them have their own state. Like we tell them, like a Jewish husband and wife is, I'm for you and you're for me. When we have a tenant and you're in Ohio, I'm for you and you're for me. You find the deal in Ohio, come to me so I could buy it and lease it to you. And if I find something in Ohio, I'm going to come to you to lease it to you. And we kind of try to have that kind of relationship outside of the normal structure of how the business runs. Asset managers managing the asset, keeping on top of the asset, talking to the tenant and doing that. I kind of go behind the scenes of everywhere and talk to the owners of my tenants. And I actually, schmooze with them off-site, whether it be at a casino or somewhere else, and say, what's going on, how's business, what's going on, how can I help you? And so with my background, I have a reputation in the nursing home space to have been decent at that, and I offer my help. I'm never looking for a quid pro quo. I'm not looking for someone to pay me. I help people across the board. It's what we do. If you're in the business of helping people, it's kind of antithetical to become someone to hurt somebody. So these are our tenants. The skilled nursing industry, I think most people know about the silver tsunami that's approaching with all the baby boomers. So you got a lot of tailwinds for our tenants to, again, we're getting one rent check per building. So the building could be a 400-bed building, it could be a 100-bed building. I get one rent check, I get it on the first of the month. The most boringest job in our company is accounts receivable, because we don't have to chase nobody, the money's there, and they know that if they don't pay me, I'm throwing them out. The last guy that didn't pay me literally 8 years ago, 11 days late, and I threw him out of the building. So on one side, I'm a nice guy. The other side, I'm not such a nice guy, I guess. But that being said, there's high barriers of entry into the nursing home space. Every state has licensing requirements. You can't just build a new nursing home. You can't have a nursing home here and then some guy builds a new nursing home next door. And so we like that. There's also a lot of qualifications. You got to have a background. You got to get past a lot of regulations. And so with that, it's a great business. Barrier of entry. You're doing business with people you want to do. The tenant doesn't own the license, so they can't just go buy a different building and take the license with them. We as the landlord lease them the license, or the right to have a license, and then they give it back to us when they leave the lease. And so we're certain at the end of the day that we own a building that, let's say it's a 400-bed building, so we own a building that can be a nursing home for 400 beds with a right to get a license. No one can take that away from us. Nobody could build if you had a hotel, like someone could build a hotel across the street. Over here, you can't build a new nursing home across the street. It doesn't work that way. Most states don't allow it. So low supply. Here, these slides over here just talk about the population and how the country is aging, and that should push. With this country based on Judeo-Christian values, we're not going to let someone elderly be on the street. I mean, people are moving into this country illegally so they get free healthcare. So it's no different. Somebody that worked their whole life and is eligible for Medicare and today needs to be in a nursing home to get cared, they're going to get cared for. And that's what our country, at least the country that I love and care for, is God willing going to maintain. This is our growth rate. This is the growth rate of the aging population, which this slide we could pass through it. So here's our highlights. This to me is where I'm super proud of what our company is. And again, I started at day one, and today we have the adjusted FFO growth. If you look at this is the free cash flow. So today we're sitting with about $73 million of free cash, based on a rent number of about 140. This is 141 million. It's 141 to 145 million. Asset growth. This is historic basic asset growth. This is not market value. Our true market value today is we got about $1.6 billion in assets. We got about $750 million market cap. We're sitting, like again, like I said, 48% debt or something like that. So I don't know what the other presentations were for how strong their balance sheets were, but I'm pretty sure that I'm probably one of the stronger balance sheets in the room. Again, listed on the New York Stock Exchange in full compliance of all the SEC guidelines and requirements. That being said, this is one of my favorite slides. This just shows you the growth rate of the AFFO to 11%, and the payout ratio on our dividend being 46.8%. So and that's a 5% give or take dividend yield. So you're talking about put them two together, you're about a 16% return a year. And again, that's without the stock. Our stock is also traded today worse than our peers. We have a very strong company, but because of maybe the float or whatever other reason, and the stock trades decently, but not decent enough, I guess, where today the stock is still traded at a multiple of like 11 times AFFO, right? So today, if your AFFO is $1.28 a share, and we closed the day at 13 something, so what is that? That's 11 times basically. And the REIT average for all REITs is like 14, 15 times, and our comp, which is CTRE, is trading at 18 or 19 times. So I don't know what the catalyst will be, because we just do exactly the way we do business and the way we've been doing business. But at some point, God willing, the marketplace sees us. Someone buying the stock today at an 11-time multiple, it gets to 15, 14, 15, 16, right? All the while earning 16%. This should be a worthwhile investment to people. That being said, we talked a little bit about the debt earlier. We have HUD debt, which is the 11 to 20 and the 20 plus bucket over there. That's altogether about 34%. That's fixed for about, right now the average remaining term is like 25 years or so. And the total average debt is at 3. In this case, with the PMI, it's 391. We did a bunch of bonds, which was cool to do. We did bonds in Israel. And so we still have some bonds that are outstanding that make up at this point 43%. And then we have a little bit of conventional debt. Our next progression as a company to be similar to our peers is for us to get just a regular unsecured line of credit, so that the marketplace looking at our balance sheet says, okay, they have 300 million untapped availability, so that people aren't thinking, because that could be one of the reasons why people don't like it, but they don't understand that the bond issuances we have capacity in that series to add to the series, and that's not exactly written that way in the queue. So it could be maybe someone misses that, and I have to go get this unsecured line of credit so that I can show people, look, I have availability, and hey, we're not hindered on our growth. Right now, there's not a deal that I want to do that I give an offer that they accept that I can't do. So we look at 300 deals a year. We give offers on, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 of them, and then we buy, 5 or 10 of them. And every deal that we make, we close. We haven't not closed because we didn't have financing. And so people ask us, well, if you had more money, would you buy more stuff? The answer is no, because it's our what's held us back is our discipline on how we buy, not because we didn't have the cash to be able to buy something. Anyway, this is just a statistic here. The occupancy in our buildings, it's a little bit of a misnomer because depending on which state you're in, certain states have different occupancy averages. So let's say Oklahoma as an average, the average for the whole state is like 50%. And so I have a bunch of buildings in Oklahoma. You put that into my portfolio and I show 74%, right? Well, the other guy's at 85%, so maybe it doesn't look right, but the reality is they're not really good comps. Our business is not like multifamily. The business is really fixed costs for the tenant are really a very, very small percentage, and variable is, it's like their payroll is 80% of their costs. So if you think about it in those terms, occupancy doesn't matter. It comes down to efficiency. When the guy who's running a nursing home runs it efficiently, they're going to make money. In multifamily, you got to fill in those doors because every door is more revenue for the same cost, right? Nursing home doesn't work that way. Nursing home is opposite to that, which is some people have to wrap their mind around that. It's a little bit different of a thought and how it works. And just data point of average facility size 109 beds, and the average is about 81 out of 109. This to me is fun. I like this. This slide has become one of my favorites because you can see how diversified we are in our rent based on state and based on tenant, and you don't see anything that's really glaringly terrible or out of whack. Indiana's 25% is the biggest, and that happens to be the best state, and that tenant is like a three coverage. So we're happy that that's the biggest, but otherwise it's equally dispersed seemingly, and I like that because, like I said, when we first started this 22 years ago, right, we were in 2 states and we were 100% of the tenants. And so if you looked at that pie graph then, it would look like, like a moon, right, a half a moon, And now you have this, which gives us a good feeling of diversity, and the lack of concentration in any specific state. So we've improved in that area. Now talking about our stock, like I said before, if you look at our trading multiple on AFFO, this is from either June 30th or 9/30 data, so that's changed because the stock has made a run recently. If you take a look at where 9.6 times is Strawberry is the bottom left, and Care Trust, which is our true comp, they're at almost 20 times. Our return is okay, nothing to write home about. Moving along, the AFL payout ratio, if you look at me, bottom left, 46.8. Everybody else is dividending out 85%, 81%. And the dividend yield is middle of the pack. So that being said, we're proud to say that we're the true pure play nursing home REIT or healthcare REIT, because we're at 90, in this case, 91.5% of the portfolio is skilled nursing. And again, for all the reasons we said, we feel that it's a good spot to be in. It's a good business for our tenants. We're triple net. We don't suffer any of the regulatory burdens. We don't have any CapEx requirements. We don't have any expenses. Literally, if you read our income statement, it's as boring as it comes. It's like 7, 8 lines. Rental income, interest expense, G&A. Have a nice day. It's that simple. This is rent coverage. We're 2 times. It's middle of the pack from the group on the left. And then if you look at the AFO share growth, we're proud we're 11.3 versus 3 guys that are negative, and then little growth rate. And that's really my presentation. Any questions? Anybody? Yes, sir.
So, on your one slide there, it looked like that Infinity was about 49% of your overall revenue.
Yeah, it's about 47%.
how do you mitigate that? Is it a publicly traded entity?
No, Infinity is actually a company that I'm 50% owner of.
Oh,
And so that's legacy assets that we've been diluting being out of. Like we started at 100%, and everything we buy, like this year we just bought, we spent $150 million, and all of that being in Kansas and Missouri, and that's all outside tenants that keeps diluting us further and further. These are assets that we've owned since the beginning some of them from the beginning of the portfolio.
so it's a separate entity though, not part of.
Yeah, no. This company is only rental income. There's no shop, there's no anything wonky. We don't have any investments anywhere. We have a little bit of loans to tenants on, like we have tenants that need working capital lines that we sometimes help out with. If there's a change of operator where the bank won't give them a line of credit yet until the license is done. So like there's a little bit of period of time. We're lending at like 10% because that's what our bogey is. So we lend at 10%, and they prefer to go to a bank so they can get a rate lower than that, obviously. But we have to get everything at 10% because that's what our model is based on. And hopefully I answered your question.
Yep, you did, thank you.
All right, anybody else? Nobody else? Yes, sir.
Is your rent connected to the revenue of the operator?
No. Absolutely not. And that would actually hurt the REIT status. So we don't have any bonus rents at all. It's a very clean, rent is absolute. It doesn't matter if they do well, they don't do well, the rent stays the same. Our rents don't go up when they succeed, or it doesn't go down when they don't succeed.
You determine a market pricing or
So that's an interesting conversation. So in this world, there isn't really a market for it because it's not economic based. It's based on how well the cash flow is of the asset when we buy it. And so if we buy something tomorrow, if we get a good deal, let's say even as an argument's sake, and we buy something for $10 million, right? So the way the math works is based off of how much. In the case of 10 million, we buy something, we're getting 1 million in rent. Okay, because we're a 10 cap. So buy a 10 million, we're leasing it for $1 million clean. And if they're making tons of money, then great, good for them. The more money they make, the more certainty we have on our income stream. The more certainty we have on our income stream, the more comfortability we have in paying out our dividend and then using the excess to buy more assets. That's the general concept there.
With more than 6,000 small and micro cap companies listed, if you're looking for the next Apple, then ChannelCheck truly is your tree. It's an investor community where you can access independent Wall Street research, advanced market data, balanced news, corporate videos, and podcasts. You can even register to attend in-person Meet the Management Series luncheons, and to be part of the preeminent annual Small and Microcap Investor Conference, NobleCon. And here's the best news. Since ChannelCheck is sponsored by the featured companies, premium membership requires no investment. It's absolutely free. So check it out. Log in today. Find out why ChannelCheck is North America's leading source of research on the companies that just may change the world.